on, you got to seize the goddamn gap.
People are so goddamn inefficient. Oh, god damn it! I don't care if you're old, seize the gap!
Do you have any money?
Yeah, it's all right there. I put it all on black.
What? No.
Black wins.
Baby!
Oh, God, all right, but that was lucky.
Welcome to Seize the Gap Wagers and Bets. I'm Jamie G. Esquire the Fifth. He's Magnum Mills, and we're here to help you build your bankroll. And if you're wondering, we are dressed like this because it's by order of the Peaky fucking Blinders.
Yeah, we got the pocket watches, whatever. I am not wearing the tie right now because we're going to be here doing stuff for a little bit. Old shirts are pre-COVID, a little tight in the neck now. So gotta say, just thank you for checking us out. Really appreciate it. Please remember, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like this video. If you're checking out the podcast for the first time, please subscribe, drop us a rating. Really appreciate it. And pretty simply, we're just going to today break down some of our favorite wagers for maybe the biggest event on the PGA calendar, maybe the most popular one to bet, and that's the 2022 Masters.
That sounds A-OK, Magnum Mills. Let's start at the top of the board here with a couple of players with short odds that we like.
Golf is weird. It's a very tough one to bet. It's a little like baseball, and you're even the best golfers are, if it win every like fifth tournament, they're doing pretty damn good. So I generally don't go all the way to the top of the board, but on the other hand, in tournaments where you have a really deep, talented field like this, you're not going to get a ton of value at the bottom of the board either. But towards the top here, I do really like Scotty Scheffler. I mean, dude's on fire, 2 wins in the last 4 events, and he's played very well. He's only 2 times in the Masters, finished 19th, 18th. My model loves him here, all the variations of it I ran. So it looks like even though 1,200 isn't a great number, it is fucking wheels up for Scotty Scheffler. Yeah,
another one here, Magnum Mills, is Cameron Smith, plus 1,400. Another player who seems to really be hitting their stride and in great form, like Scotty Scheffler. He's also got 2 wins in his last 4 events. Excellent track record in Augusta, finished 10th last year, 2nd in 2020, and 5th in 2018. So the model loves him as well. Pretty high on Cameron Smith.
Can't really argue with it. Again, fire form and a good history here is a combination you want, and everybody also loves it when models love them. At least I would, shout out models. Feel free to love me. And then finally here on the short odds, you got JT, Justin Thomas, plus 1,400. Solid recent form, 3 top 8 finishes in the last 4 events. Hasn't been on fire, but definitely not in a bad place as he comes down to Augusta here. Excellent track records, worst finish in the last 5 years at the Masters was a 21st place finish last year. And as usual, the model in pretty much any way I want to run it, it loves Justin Thomas.
Now, let's move down the board a bit into the mid-range, Magnum Mills, the middle of the road odds. What have you got for us here, baby?
Right off the top of the board here, it's not going to be fun because you're fading what will probably be the most fun story of the weekend, but Tiger Woods plus 4,000, just run away. It'll be a great story. If you want to put some money on him to make the cut, knock yourself out. But this would literally be his first competitive golf event since being injured so bad in a car accident, they almost had to amputate his right leg. And he was already struggling with health problems before that. Great story if he plays. Very excited to watch him play. Hope dearly he makes the cut. I cannot see any kind of way he actually is in contention here. Not hating on Tiger, just not where I would be putting my money. And someone I would actually bet on, and that's Will Z. He's ready to carve Will Z into everyone's forehead. He has not been on fire lately, dropped off a bit in his last 3 events, but the 2 events before that, he finished 2nd and 6th. So in the last month or so, you have seen that peak form. He finished 2nd here in his only Masters appearance. Model likes him, doesn't love him. Overall, I think that combination of the plus 3,500, the recent form, the good history of last year, he might actually be my favorite bet on the entire board.
Well, in Magnum Mills, we have to call him Will Z, but I will call him Will Clitoris. Next up, Magnum Mills, we've got Matthew Fitzpatrick here at plus 5,000. Again, in excellent form, having finished up in the top 10 in 4 of his last 5 events. He has a solid but uninspiring history at Augusta. He's a solid cut maker, but hasn't found himself in contention yet. In the last 5 years, he's finished between 21st and 46th here. The model actually likes him quite a bit, which doesn't happen often with Fitz. Plus 5,000, I think, is a pretty solid number here, Magnum Mills.
we've seen this type of golfer have success at Augusta before. He is made probably a better version of like Danny Willett, and I also like the guy we're going to talk about in a minute here. Shane Lowry is similar. But before we get to Lowry, we're going to stay right here at this plus 5,000. And I'm going to talk about my guy, Mr. Burns, because he is playing excellent. Right now, can't really, he's a Bob player. Don't, like Fabulous, can't deny it, won't deny it. He tends to boom or bust. But he's kind of more towards the boom right now. He's finished first, 26th and 9th in his last 3 events. No history at the Masters, but the models really like him here. And again, he's got that wide range of outcomes like I talked about. One of those outcomes is actually winning the whole golf tournament. So plus 5,000, go Burns or go home, baby.
And your guy, Shane Lowry, plus 5,000. And another player in really good form. He's racked up finishes of 12th, 13th, and 2nd in his last 3 events. His performance at the Masters has been trending upwards, and he's finished 21st and 25th, respectfully, here in the last 2 years. The models are also feeling the Irishman this week. Maybe there's something to that, Magnum Mills.
I mean, does he paint houses? Might have to ask him and find out. Now, I am a little disappointed that you didn't call him Shane Lowry, but, it's maybe you haven't seen Bad Boys in a minute, or maybe you're boycotting Will Smith. Not entirely sure. And kind of to finish up the mid-range, middle of the road here, we've got Corey Connors, my man, the double C's, crucially conflicted at plus 5,500 here. Decent recent form. That rhymes, but it's also true. He hasn't been killing it, but he's been grinding out the cuts. You'd think that, the main problem with Connors is generally his putting. It would take him out of consideration for a place like Augusta that has greens that can absolutely murder you, but not really. Actually, if you look at the last 2 years, he's finished 8th and 10th here. The models don't love him here. And that's kind of surprising because of his very good ball striking. It's usually more often than not, the model's going to be feeling Corey Connors. Again, he's one of my guys, probably a bit of a FOMO play, but there's no way I'm not throwing down a couple bucks on the player who I am always crucially conflicted about. That's Corey Connors. Shout out mid-90s hip hop group, Crucial Conflict.
Ooh. Magnum Mills, let's be honest here. You're not going to see many players with long odds putting on the green jacket. Still, we're saying there's a chance. Magnum Mills, give me a long shot wager for this year's Masters.
Let's go with my man, Max Power. That's Max Homa, plus 7,000. Nice recent form. He's finished in the top 17 each of his last 4 events. He's played the Masters the last 2 years, finishing 56th, 63rd. Not great, but he does have experience here, which is important. It is tough to really put a lot of money on a Masters Virgin. And the models, they're lukewarm on him here. Don't love him. Don't hate him. They would say, probably lean towards him, but again, not something that's kind of jumping off the paper. But he does check the box, like I said, got a good number at the plus 7,000, decent recent form, and enough history here that you feel he might have a, somewhat of a feel for the golf course at this point.
We also got Kevin Kistner here at plus 15,000, KK in the house. His recent form has not been great, but he did finish 4th in the WGC match play event a couple of weeks ago. He's been a mixed bag at Augusta over the years, but he's had some minor success. He's a player that could be almost anywhere in your model, depending on the criteria. Not going crazy here, but it's probably worth throwing a couple bucks down on hashtag nobody beats the Kiz.
Nobody beats the Kiz. Shout out his marquee. Yeah, I think shout out Tour Junkies. I think originally they had Kevin Kisner on their podcast and came up with the Nobody Beats the Kiz, but it's hot. I like it. Co-opting it here. Finally here, one more guy in the long range bets here. That's a sandwich man, Tom Hoagie, plus 18,000. He had a victory about a month ago. Since then, he's finished 14th, missed a cut, finished 32nd, 33rd. No history at the Masters, but the models do love him here. Again, he's an elite ball striker, can get it done off the tee. It just feels like a case of, despite not having any experience here, he's got, again, long odds that we like, and he's playing with house money. This is a dude now whose career is way in a far, far better shape than it was 6 weeks ago. I mean, again, there's no expectations here. He's going to go out there. He's going to grip it and rip it. He's the kind of ball striker that can get it done in Augusta. I think this number is too long. So I'm at least, getting a couple of hoagies in this weekend.
Man, oh man, I got to tell you, Magnum Mills, I appreciate you, man. I want to thank you for getting me into golf betting. Why didn't somebody tell me about all this jazz before? I can always use something else to wager on. And as you know, on the tail end of March Madness, I need something to get my beak wet. And I, like you, could also use some help figuring out exactly what to wager on. That's what we're here for. Magnum Mills, tell the people where they can find all of our absolutely free content, wagering and otherwise.
That reminds me of a couple of years ago. It was during I think it was the NBA All-Star break. Like after they played the game, they go on a break for almost a week, and people were looking for something to want to wager on. So a lot of people were doing like free content for NHL, for DraftKings and stuff like that. And there was this one famous Twitter feed, this one basketball dude who all of a sudden decided like, all right, fuck it, I'll watch hockey. And he was just ecstatic. He's like, why did no one tell me about hockey? Where have you been hiding? They fight. This shit is crazy. So, like that, golf isn't, Happy Gilmore style as much as we like to see the dudes out there duking out with Bob Barker. It is a fun sport to wager on, give you a little stake in that game. And man, if you're watching, a guy with long shot odds playing late on Sunday with a chance to win, it's really one of the most fun sports to sweat out from a wagering standpoint. So you should check it out, even if it's just a little casual wagering. Again, don't wager anything you can't lose, and don't expect to hit a lot of winners in golf, but really it's the Masters. Put a couple bucks out there, have some fun. And if you want to have fun, all you need to do is search for Seize the Gap Fantasy on your favorite podcast platform. We're on social media at Seize the Gap FF. We're from the Joe Blow Football Show, who you can find at joeblowfootballshow.com and on social media at Joe Blow Show. As JBG alluded to, we are covering the 6th and final season of the show Peaky Blinders on our podcast PBP, a Peaky Blinders podcast. Find us by searching for PBP, Peaky Blinders, on your favorite podcast platform and on social media at Peaky Podcast. And we are about to cover the final 7 episodes of the series Ozark from Netflix for the Ozark Podcast. Find us by simply searching for Ozark Podcast and on social media at Ozark Podcast. And finally, you're almost sick of hearing me talk, but I do have to tell you that we're also periodically covering the show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, one of our favorites, on our show Night Pod Cometh on your favorite podcast platform. Find it by searching for Night Pod Cometh and on social media at Night Pod Cometh. Again, I am Magnum Mills. He's Jamie G. Thank you very much for checking us out. And remember to seize that gap and stop being so inefficient.
I don't care if you're old. Seize the gap.
Seize the goddamn gap.
This has been the Seize the Gap Wagers and Bets podcast presented by the Joe Blow Football Show. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Any views or opinions expressed here are personal and do not represent those of people, institutions, or organizations who may or may not be associated with the Joe Blow Football Show. If you have any questions, please contact us at seizethegapff@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment.